grown your law firm probably north of $1 million, then you're probably noticing that how you make decisions is slightly different from when your firm was much smaller. At this point, you have to rely on the data and how you use the data to help you make decisions if you're going to continue growing and you're going to continue having a profitable and successful law firm. This is why we get contacted by a lot of law firms to help build out these custom law firm KPI dashboards. And so, one of the things that we do with these dashboards is we take a lot of data that law firms have because you probably, like most law firms, have a ton of data in your law firm practice management system or in other systems. But the question is, how do you get that data out of the system to summarize it and to make it useful to help you make decisions? So, I'm going to walk you through a dashboard, a KPI dashboard that we built for a firm. And what we did is we took about 8 years worth of their data out of their system. And we said, all right, we'll take the data, we'll build out these different KPIs and dashboards to really help you understand your business and to help you keep a pulse on what's going on in your business. Now, the first thing that they wanted to do was kind of look at productivity and understand what's going on with my team because I want to understand, is the team on track to hit their revenue and hit their targets before it's too late? I want to know early enough so we can do something about it. So, one of the things that we ended up building for them was a weekly analysis to where on a weekly basis, they can pull up this file and they can see where their team is. They can see how many billable hours the team has already earned that week. And then what they can also do, which highlights red, yellow, or green, is they can see how close is that employee to their target. Now, one of the things that you also want to keep in mind is you may be hitting your billable hours, but not all the billable hours that the staff puts in the system actually gets billed to the client. Some of that may get written off through the billing review process. So we also built in a factor to see how close are they to achieving their revenue targets, because as a firm owner running a much larger firm, you want to understand, are they hitting their billable hours and are they hitting their revenue targets? And you don't just want to know what happened that week. You also want to know on a monthly basis, are they on track to hit their target? Will they achieve their goals? And we've also built that in there. So, what this firm owner can do now is every week they go in here, they look, it gives them their quick snapshot on, hey, where the team is the team on track? Yes or no? And that way they can start to manage the activity of the team. Now, another one that becomes very important is really tracking to see how are we collecting on the invoices that we are sending out to customers. So, one of the things that we built here is we took all of their data to be able to calculate, okay, all right, how long on average is it taking you to collect payment from your clients? Now, one of the obvious things that we noticed when we did this analysis for them is that it was taking about 45% of their invoices are taking longer than 10 days to be collected. Now, what that tells me is that if the business is going to experience any cash crunches or any issues with cash flow, then the part of the problem is that it's taking too long to collect invoices or invoice payments from their clients. So one of the things that this allowed the firm owner to do is to start looking and saying like, hey, what do we need to do different about our collections process? Is to make sure that we can speed up and we can collect the payments for the work that we're actually doing. And then another area that became very, very useful for the firm is we built out what this average case value analysis, because this one becomes very critical because as you're looking at all of the casework that you're doing and you want to get an idea on like, hey, if we bring in this type of case, like what type of revenue, like how much are we actually expecting to gain from that? Now you won't know exactly because not every case happens exactly the same. But with enough data, we can kind of estimate and really calculate to say, hey, on average, Every time they did a child custody case, it was about $14,000 in revenue. Every time they did a divorce case, it was around 12,000. Now, what we also noticed is every time they did an adoption, it was around $5,000. Now, where this becomes even more critical is if your firm is thinking about moving to a flat fee pricing structure for some of the casework that you do, it is very important for you to understand your average case value. And what we were able to do is to help them not only understand their average as a whole, but then they can actually track it on a monthly basis. So we can see month over month, we kind of know how much revenue each type of case is bringing in. We were also able to tell them, hey, on average, here's how long it takes you to support these types of cases. And then one of the other critical ones was being able to see on a monthly basis how much revenue is coming in for each type of case, because this gives you an idea on where are we spending our time, which types of cases are really bringing in revenue for the business. Now, this one became very helpful when you're looking at your marketing, because then you go back to your marketing team or you look at your marketing strategy and say, what types of clients are we trying to target in our marketing? And does that align with what we're doing in our revenue performance? And we look at our average case value as, are we marketing for the types of cases that really do bring in the money for the firm? And the other thing that they wanted to be able to see is, well, what if I wanted to see this data and I wanted to break it down to see, okay, all right, this tells me by case type, but what about my staff? Well, we built that in there too to say, hey, now you can see which staff members are bringing in the revenue. You can see it month over month, how each staff member is performing at and you can compare all of the staff together over a period of time. You can see how many billable hours on a monthly basis they're generating. And let's say if you wanted to say, all right, it's good that I can see that, hey, Joe French brought in 17,000 in the month of April. But what if I wanted to go deeper and I wanted to see, well, what types of cases did Joe work on? Well, we got you covered. Here you can change, you can filter for any employee that you want to see, and you can see this is where Joe's revenue came from. These are the types of cases that Joe worked on. Now, a lot of this may be like, okay, all right, Terrell, this looks good, but what's really how does this really work? And one of the things that we did is when we designed this custom dashboard for the team, we said, okay, all right, it's great that you can get this data once, but how do we build this in a way that you will consistently and continually get the data? So what we did is we did all the work in the background and building this out, and this client wanted it in Excel, so we built it out in Excel, and then we created a 8-minute instruction video on and train their office administrator on how to update it. Now, what their office administrator does is they pull 3 reports right out of their law firm management system. They paste the data into the file, and then with the push of a button, everything automatically gets updated with just a simple push of a button. So within 8 minutes, the office administrator can update all of this to where the firm owner can just come in and they can quickly see all of the relevant KPIs that they want to see across the entire firm. So usually when it comes down to building out dashboards like this for a company that wants to just focus on, hey, we just want the operational data piece, which is kind of like the productivity piece of things. And usually that's about $3,000 to build out something like this. And if you say, hey, well, we just want the financial segment of it, well, the financial segment, that's probably about $3,000. Or let's say you want to do this for your marketing content. That's about $3,000 for that. But one of the things that we're doing is for a lot of people that want to combine it all, instead of charging $9,000 for the whole thing, we're charging about $6,900 for you to get all 3 parts of this in one simple dashboard. And we'll create the instructional video that will train even your office administrator or even your receptionist can be trained on how to update this. So as the owner, all you have to do is pull up the file, and whenever it's updated, you pull up the file, you look at your data, you look at your information, and it allows you to get the answers that you need so that you can be the CEO of the business and you can run the business like a CEO and not have to be deep into every single detail, but you'll get the right information at the right time so that you can make the right decisions for the firm to continue growing and continue being profitable. So, if you're interested in finding out, hey, can this custom dashboard work for my law firm? Click on the link in the, below this video where you can schedule a discovery call and someone from our team can connect with you, understand what are you trying to accomplish, how is your data structured, and we can figure out is would a custom dashboard be the right fit for you and your firm?